Hi, it's Dot from dotstrot.com, and with the holidays upon us, that means there's going to be lots of parties that people are going to go to, lots of celebrating, and a lot of that celebrating people will want to do with their favorite adult beverage. So today I thought it would be a good idea to talk about when you're out at these parties, what are probably if you do want to drink, what are probably the safest drinks you can use to help you stay on track when it comes to losing weight if you're eating low carb. Now, word of caution with alcohol is that it actually does stop any fat burning that your body is doing. Once you start drinking alcohol, your body is going to basically get rid of the alcohol first. It's not going to burn fat, it's not going to burn anything but that alcohol. So just keep that in mind. So for the holiday season and just anytime you're thinking about, opening up or, having a glass of wine or, your favorite beverage, whatever that may be, just keep in mind that moderation in this case really is important. You don't want to overdo it. It's real easy to pack on the pounds if you drink something, especially if it's a lot of sugar that you're consuming with your alcohol. So with that, let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the top 5 drinks that you can have during the holiday season. Now, number 5, I should say, is a bit surprising. I was surprised about this when I started doing some research on this because I have given up pretty much drinking beer. I stopped drinking it pretty much about 4 years ago. Occasionally, I might have one or two every once in a while, but it's rare that I do that. Beer is really known as liquid bread because you just pack on the pounds. That's, the beer belly. Everyone knows guys get the beer belly by having too much beer. But now they're actually making beers that are lower in carbs, so not as much sugar is in them. You can certainly enjoy one or two of these types of beers if you're out celebrating, the holiday. But you got to be really careful because these beers are also somewhat light, and it's going to be really easy to drink way more than you need. So the beers include Bud Select. That's a new one that's on the market. That's about 1.9 grams of carbs in a can or a bottle. Miller 64 is another one. That's about 2.4 carbs. And then Michelob Ultra, I believe it is. They come in at 2.6 grams a bottle. So you've got some options there if you like beer. Again, just moderation is really, really important. It's really easy to drink way more than just one or two of those. Now, the next on my list is white wine. Now, typically in low carb communities, a lot of things I see is just sort of like, oh, all wine is about 2 grams a glass, and it really doesn't really work that way. Now, all table wine is considered dry when you drink it. There's the only type of really super sweet wine are the dessert wines. You want to stay away from those during the holidays. They're loaded up with sugar and carbs, and they're really meant for sipping after dinner anyway. It's not something to suck down while you're doing, your little toast with friends. But white wine, I put lower than a red wine. And the reason why is white wines tend to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit fruitier. White wine usually is about anywhere from 3 to 5 grams of carbs. Now, the hard part with wine is that there isn't an exact number. With an individual beer, beer is sort of made the exact same way every single time. It doesn't age like wine does, nor the other thing is a lot of American beers are made with rice. Whereas with the wine, the grapes change every year. So one vintage of wine is going to be different from last year's vintage as far as sweetness. So you just have to be careful with that. A good rule of thumb is if you're drinking a Chardonnay for the most part, or some other wine that isn't that isn't sweet, not like a Riesling or a white Zinfandel. But if you're drinking just a simple Chardonnay, I think it's probably safe to say 3 grams of carbs per 5 ounces is just fine. If you start doing more than that, though, again, it starts racking up the carbs really, really quickly. So you have to be careful with that. Coming in right after white, that I would recommend that is above the white, is a red. Red wines are known for having, besides, a ton of antioxidants within them, they tend to be drier. You're looking at 2 to 5 grams of carbs per 5 ounce glass. So again, you want to make sure you have a dry red wine. So that doesn't mean anything that's a blush or pink wine. A rosé would not count. They're usually much more higher in carbs. They tend to be a little bit sweeter. So again, red wine is an excellent choice. Again, average, I'd say it's okay to say 2 grams of carbs per glass. You don't necessarily have to go to that 5 unless you're getting something super sweet. You don't want to go there. Right after that, it's actually the best type of wine you can have for the holidays is champagne. Oop, I guess I shouldn't shake that. Won't be opening up that one tonight. But champagne is about 1 gram of carbs per glass. However, what you have to be careful about with champagne is not all champagnes are actually equal. There's a lot of different things when you're looking at champagne. It's how it's actually labeled. If something's a brut, it's actually a good choice. It's a dry champagne. But there's a couple of other champagnes out there that you want to be careful of, and I've made some notes on that, and I'm going to check them out. With champagnes, what you want to make sure of is that anything that's labeled um, uh, that's a brut is good. Brut nature is good. Extra brut is good. Those tend to be dry. But when you're looking at champagnes that are extra dry or dry, strangely enough with champagne, anything labeled dry is actually sweeter than a brut. So you just want to keep that in mind when you're choosing your champagnes that you either want to serve or you want to have. Now, if you're looking at probably your best bet for drinking, but you want to be careful because you don't want to overindulge in this, are the spirits. So you're looking at your vodkas, your gins, tequila, your bourbons, scotches, whatever. Your spirits don't have any carbs in them. So that's actually a great thing. However, where you start racking up the carbs with the spirits is your mixers, what you start adding into your spirits to get the right drink that you love. So if you are a person who loves White Russians, well, guess what? That Kahlua ain't going to help you, and neither's the milk that they're adding to it either. If you like margaritas, you like the tequila, but you add a margarita mix. Well, this particular margarita mix that we have that we serve with for people who want them, you're looking at 24 grams of sugar in 4 ounces of this. That's a heck of a lot of sugar that you're adding into your body, and that isn't going to metabolize quickly. You're going to store that, so you want to be careful about what you're adding into it. So if you want to drink a vodka, your best bet is to have vodka on ice or maybe with a little bit of water, but you don't want to add your orange juice and you don't want to add your cranberry. Again, you're adding all those sugars. So, for example, just a regular size margarita that you go from tequila 0 carbs to with your mixer. Again, if you add the right amount, you're looking at about 8 to 10 carbs per glass of just because you add the mixer into it. So just keep that in mind this Christmas and also New Year's when you're going out and having fun. Obviously, moderation is the key. That's the best way to play it. Or you can become a teetotaler if you prefer. But if you're going to partake, just be smart about it and just you want to limit your choice. That doesn't mean you can't have a margarita. Just understand that it's going to take you a while to start burning fat again if you decide to do that. So that's what I've got for you. I hope the information's been helpful. And if you enjoy what I've talked about, go ahead and hit like and also share with your friends who are also trying to lose weight. And put down in a comment box any types of drinks that you like to do when you're out celebrating New Year's, and how do you actually sort of watch the sugar content of what you're drinking. Just let me know and give me a holler. And until next time, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Just don't make it too merry, if you know what I mean.